So there we go. Oh, so no matter what, I have to do it horizontal. Fucking stupid. But anyway, whatever. It's fucking dumb. Let me get really close in there. Alright. So let me get close in there. Let me just mess around with it like that. And let me wait. I'll wait. And then play around with it. I forgot some of the settings on this thing already. I mean, I have the backlit on all the time, which is great. That the backlit part, what you do is when the radio is off, you hit this button right here. You see the delete button, whatever Dell. There's a little light button there. If you press it and hold it while the radio is off, it'll keep the light on the whole time. I do like the blue backlit. It is gonna eat some of the battery from the radio, but I do like the blue backlit. Okay, so there you go. Now I'm going to turn this video on. Let me lower the volume. I hit that. And turn that on.
Stationery items and supplies awards. But also a copy of the published brochure. The awarding ceremony.
There you go. So that's what you do. So before you turn on the radio, you press and hold this button, the delete button or the Dell button. There's a little light button there, and it keeps the backlit on. Because I like the backlit. I don't like the backlit off. I like the blue backlit. And hello, RRT08. So there you go. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to go to AM band on, there you go, 1540.
Society is gracious to under my photo ID. I'm proud that most
So that's KXEL out of Waterloo, Iowa.
You know, I want to run too.
Which is 1,600 kilometers away from my house. 1,000 miles away. I'm using the MLA 30 connected to this radio.
You know, dozens and dozens of millions of dollars to confuse the Wisconsin public and allow them to believe that Brad Schimmel was the candidate I'm voting for. Brad Schimmel was actually the liberal in the race, which is the exact opposite of the truth.
And of course, this liberal judge that you mentioned, Congressman Grossman, this is Judge Susan Crawford. She has a radical record on the bench. There was one instance where a convicted felon sexually assaulted a 5-year-old girl multiple times, and he could have been put away for 60 years. She let this guy walk after just 2 years. I mean, this is how radical of a person we're talking about.
Well, like I said, historically, when she's run for judge, she brags about the fact that she's a, long-time Madison Madison lawyer, Madison judge, and that is synonymous when you're running in the Madison area, just synonymous with saying, I'm a very liberal candidate, and you expect me to vote for him. But with all the money Jason Pritzker and George Soros.
Anyway, I don't want to hear about this stupid judge. Of course, she's a radical judge. What do you expect,
soccer team move? Like, what's everybody in Chelsea that move? Have there, like, you've seen, I see a restaurant in Manchester United, like, they need a new stadium. It's almost like they almost need a new stadium.
Okay, I'm going to turn this off.
But they're not planning to move.
Let me turn this off.
Like, has there ever been an EPL team that's moved?
Okay, let me lower. I'm going to turn on the backlit because the backlit is causing some issues. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna turn it back on. I think the backlit is causing a lot of focusing issues. Too bright. Let's try it again.
Levels, 5 levels of soccer
And
there.
this is
There's
trial and
really
error, folks.
nowhere.
So trial and error. I'm trying out this radio on a live stream, and so here we go. And especially medium wave DXing.
Okay. Yeah. So like I said, I think that NBA can come in Vegas before
bringing manufacturing back to the U.S., but the whole reason that manufacturing left the U.S. in the first place is because it's expensive to make things here. It's expensive to build out factories, and workers demand more, and that is an extra cost for these companies. So they've struck deals with other countries, other providers, and what have you, and that's the state of the economy right now. Look, technology, automotive, it's a global industry, and that means that we're going to have sitting on some products that aren't impacted by these tariffs, thinking about reciprocal tariffs for countries that might impose these tariffs, for goods coming back into the U.S. or goods that we export. Basically, what that means is that things are going to get a lot more expensive, at least in the short term.
That's ABC News Tech reporter Mike Busby talking with our John Jordan. Top stories we're following on WTOP. An additional round of President Trump's tariffs, as we've been talking about, are set to go into effect formally on Wednesday this week. Investors are worried about what this means for U.S.-based businesses. A layoff up to 10,000 people in the University of Maryland has put in its basketball coach, Buzz Williams, this morning from Texas A&M, says it's an honor to be named.
All right, let me start at the bottom of the dial. On medium wave. 530. Of course. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on, bro. Are you serious? 530, bro. Come on, bro. There we go. All right. Of course, it's going to be very noisy. Yeah. Yeah, this radio on 530 with the this is why I said, remember what I said about my review. I know a lot of people like this radio. Here's what I'm going to do. There's a caveat. I know a lot of people love this radio because it has a TF-6686 chip. However, here we go. On 530, this radio is super noisy. I don't know if it's the front end on this radio, but on the same chip, the silver radio, my TF-6686 radio, that one picked up 530, right? You heard the reception very well. And this one, this is what you get. Okay? That's a big caveat. Okay? Just want to point that out. Because I'm gonna make a review on this radio. I know a lot of people love this radio, but I'm gonna tell you something. On the lower portion of the medium wave band, this radio doesn't perform that well. Okay? Just want to make that clear. I'm making it. You hear it right now. The proof is in the pudding. Every time I bring this radio out here and I go down to 530, this is what I get. Meanwhile, my silver TEF 6686 can hear the signal. So, just going to point that out to you. Okay? So, that's why, I know a lot of people love this radio. I like this radio. Don't get me wrong. I still like the radio, but I'm going to tell you, compared to the silver TF 6686, that one is, I'm going to say, it's better. And that's what some people are not telling you. But I'm going to tell you here. You heard yep, I mean, you heard it right now. We can go to 540. Excuse me, no. I'm sorry. Let me use this because I got auto. You hear what I'm saying? Look, 540, 550, 560. So there's something going on with that radio, with this radio. And I had this radio for many months. I cannot pick up anything on this frequency. You know, IDX on 1040 on other, but I'm gonna tell you, 530 to 560. Right now, this radio, I'm gonna say, doesn't pass the mustard. Doesn't cut the mustard for me. Gonna keep that in mind when I make the review on this radio. Compared to the silver TEF 6686. Okay? Just gonna make that clear. Because you hear it, look. So there's something going on that the other radio can overcome this. Now, I know that radio has a metal case and all that. And remember, I have it hooked up to MLA30, both of them. So, just pointing it out there. Now let's go to 570.
Want to learn how to grow your church? Email Ministry Director at WMCA.com.
Of course, a local station here and pretty strong signals.
Dan, you and your firm get the right medical treatments for your clients. You get around them, you support them. It's not all about the money.
We have a rule in the office that's to do unto others as you'd have them do unto you rule, which you know where that comes from. And basically, we will not send you to any doctor that we wouldn't send our own family members to. There are plenty of lawyers who will send you to doctors who will butcher you.
So, my thing with this radio so far is it is susceptible to some internal noise compared to the metal, the silver metal radio with the big screen, the TEF 6886. That's the one that I reviewed. They have the same chip, but remember, you're hearing it now, that this radio tends to get noisy indoors. Okay? Because I know a lot of people love this radio. I love it too. They got it on a pedestal. But I'm going to tell you, it has flaws. I'm just going to point that out to you tonight. All right? So let's go to 580. There you go. Noise. You see what I'm saying? Even though I got an external. My silver one would have been it wouldn't sound like this. Let's go to 590. Yeah. 600. Yeah. See what I'm saying? And 620 is a local station, very strong signal, so
Therapies and treatments.
630, 640.
Advocates is different.
So you can see, So you can see that this radio in the boiler room with the MLA30 on medium wave is not that great. It's good. It's not that great. It's good. You know? Again, because this radio is susceptible to some interference. Compare this to the silver TF-8686 radio. That radio right now kicks this radio's ass. I'm gonna say it. I know people don't want to hear that about this radio, but I'm telling you, the proof is in the pudding. You're hearing it right now. And I got the MLA 30 on it. And that silver radio, I would have heard signals. I heard force. Of course, on 530, I would have got Cuba. Because that's what I got on that radio. Hear nothing. Noise. In the boiler room. 600, I would have got a signal. On 640, I would have got another signal. On 610, I would have got another signal. So you see what I'm saying? On 580, I probably would have got a signal too. So right now, that radio already kicks this radio's ass. That's it. And believe me, I tried it a few times. This is not the first time I'm doing this. I tried it many times. And this radio indoors is coming up short. And I like this radio. It's a good radio. But indoors, it is susceptible to noise interference. It is, for whatever reason, the front end, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you right now, I like the silver radio. Because of the metal case. I think that metal case, even though it has a big old display on it, that Shango said it was unusable, that silver radio kicks this radio's ass right now. I'm going to say it. And I didn't believe that. Hamradio DX was the one that told me, and Danny, you like this radio? You need to check out that radio. I bought this radio first, remember? And then I bought that radio. And when I bought that radio made me a believer. So I'm just going to point that out to you people. Just because every radio has a TF-8686 chip in it, doesn't mean it's a great radio. Remember, that one has a metal case and it's heavy. This one is on a plastic radio case with the buttons and all that. Is definitely susceptible to radio interference compared to that radio. Okay? Just want to point that out. I know it's disappointing to some. I know they're going to be like, damn, Danny, you really knocking the radio. I'm not knocking it. It's a good radio for the price. Remember, the other one's more expensive than this one because it has a bigger display. But it shields better. And that's important too. And that radio is heavy. That's a brick. That little radio, the silver radio is a brick compared to this radio. Because even this plastic on it is very light. And you see the keypad. And, I think this is definitely more susceptible to interference. Okay? So I just got to point that out. I'm being honest. I'm being honest here. I know people are not going to like that about this radio. They're going to say, Danny, you really bashing them. No, I'm not bashing the radio. I'm just being honest. I own the two, and I'm telling you right now, medium wave DXing, I enjoy the other radio better than this one so far. Okay? Just pointing it out there.
That was the fans Bandscans on the call on Eugenio Suarez put the Yankees away with the grand slam in the 8th. Arizona takes game 1.
You hear that? Even up here, look, 680. You hear that? It's not cool.
No arrests so far. Department of Sanitation.
You hear that? So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That don't think that this radio is the darling. I'm telling you, I'm pointing it out right now. The front end on this thing is very susceptible to interference. And hello, TV Radio 1972. I hope you're doing well, my friend. I got to point that out. So, you know, even though they both had the same chip, I do like the you know, the heavier one with the metal case and all that compared to this one in terms of, you know. But right now, this one indoors, you know, this is a nice radio outdoors, but indoors, right now in here,
Filibuster Tuesday night as New Jersey Senator Cory Booker spoke for more than...
direction we're heading in. So I'm in the more favorable part. We're in a rough patch right now. I'm okay with that, being patient.
Not me. I hate the man. Tried to overthrow the government. Start there. Just about everything he does.
The same poll shows more than half of Americans don't like how he's handling inflation and the economy, but 53% approve of how Trump is handling immigration. I'm Lisa Ritchie for 77 WABC News.
Federal health workers are being laid off en masse. There are reports that some Department of Health and Human Services employees found out they were laid off early this morning when their ID badges no longer work to get them inside their buildings. It involves hundreds of workers.
Okay, let me put the chat. Sorry, I could toggle it. Okay. All message visible. Okay, there we go. It depends on it depends on the environment you're in. I get more noise on the silver, and that's strange because I don't get more noise on the silver. It's actually the opposite. I getting more noise here right now, and it's been like that for a while. Well, no, I haven't hooked up. I had them both hooked up to MLA30. I'm using an outdoor antenna, MLA30. Oh my God, my son is upstairs playing. So you hear my son yelling? Is that they're playing upstairs? My wife and my son are playing upstairs, so I'm sorry about that. And by the way, it's not just tonight. Is every time I have this radio in this room. Yeah, forget long story. Yeah. Yeah, he's up. He's a night owl. He stays up till like 1 a.m. And I have to drag him out of bed every morning. But anyway, that's another story for another day. You know. Anyway. Yeah, and my wife is up anyway, so you know. But this is since I got this radio. And by the way, with or without the MLA 30, okay? With and without the MLA 30, I still get that noise. And that I was like, wow, you know. No, and don't get me wrong, when I take it outside, it's a different story. But in here, I noticed that this radio is very susceptible to, you know, and I expected that because when I first took out this radio from the box and I had a feel for the plastic and all that, I said, okay, it's a nice looking radio, but compared to that other radio, that radio is built like a tank. So, I don't know. I thought about that too, but I done this without the antenna. Yeah. I know. I know. But I've done this many times without the antenna. And it's something that's causing this radio to it might be just my local environment, something on that frequency range that this radio in this room, it just doesn't perform from 700 kilohertz down to 530 for some. I don't know what the hell it is. Yeah.
Gets on the stage and steals the show.
Yeah, you would think, but I have to. Okay, this one because right now I'm on my phone, so the live chat disappears. No, they're great receivers. It's just that this radio on medium wave in this boiler room is kind of disappointing because it overloads. You see what I'm saying? It's overloading. It's just crazy overloading.
Reduce our massive trade deficit and ultimately protect our economic and national security. President Trump's economic vision is rooted in common sense. America will offer companies.
I'll be right back. Let me check on something.
Regulations as they make their.
I have to check on something. I'll be right back.
The United States and hire American workers for the job. It's simple. If you make your products in America, you will pay no tariff.
The White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, well, we're going to focus on this much of this morning, the tariffs and what the president's measures might mean for global trade. And we're now joined by our business presenter, Mariko Oy, who is in Singapore. Mariko, President Trump has described the word as his favorite word and called it the most beautiful word in the dictionary. The word is tariff. Why is he so keen on tariffs?
Well, that's because his pet hate is a trade deficit. So that's when America sells less than what its trading partner sells the United States, and he absolutely hates it. He thinks, as we just heard from the White House press secretary, he and the White House think that America is getting ripped off by its trading partners, and the biggest trade deficit that Washington currently has is with China, followed by Mexico and Vietnam. So they want to rebalance it by flattening all these tariffs. And of course, today,
let me get a guys, right there, the edge. Let me get a cardboard and
that he has already brought in on steel and
because I want to try something. Okay, let me move this chair out of the way for a second because I had no space in here. I'm trying out something here. Let me get an index card.
With its trading partners. Economists, though, however, say that.
And I'm gonna ask my friend to send me. Let me get this pencil. Okay.
The prices at the low level that they are.
Let me just get everything over here. I'm gonna put my glasses on.
Which basically means that
yeah.
are going to get more expensive in America.
I was gonna look it up, but I'm gonna ask Michael. Michael. Now I do remember that I don't know if this thing by default has the amp on. So I need two commands. I don't want to look it up, but you can look it up for me if you want. Internal, external, and also the amp function on and off. So if you can look that up for me and send it and post it, I'm gonna write it down here and try that out. Maybe I do have the amp on while the MLA30 is on. Maybe that could be it too. I don't know. Maybe I am overloading it with that. So the first one is going to be the internal external switch. Because I don't have a computer in front of me. I'm in the boiler room. And I don't want to go back and forth. So I gotta switch it. So right now I probably still have it on internal. I don't know. And then the other thing is the amplifier function. Now, if the amplifier function is on, then that's going to overload the MLA30. So I'm going to wait on you guys to post it. Because I remember this radio does have an amplifier function. But I can't remember off the top of my head I haven't used this radio extensively like that for so long. So maybe that could be causing the overloading. But I distinctively, how you say distinctly, whatever, distinctively use this radio many times without the external antenna, and I still get the overloading issue. My son is upstairs. He was screaming. Oh my God. And don't get me wrong, this radio is great outside. Outside, I have no problem with this radio. But it's in here. It's like, my God, I just can't get below that frequency range. You know, unlike the silver radio, when I go down to 530, I could hear, Cuba. And this radio, I have not heard that signal. It's just been overloaded. Anyway, while you guys are, I don't know if you want to post it. I'm going to have to look it up then, because I guess he's not responding. Live chat, let me see. Yeah, I know, it seems that way. James. And I'll look it up. Forget it, I'll look it up. Yeah, at this point, I'll look it up. I'll be back. All right, let me see if I got this correct. Okay, hold on. Man, I forgot. It's been a long time. All right, let me check the chat. Sorry. Let me hit the chat. I gotta press this stuff. Sorry, the camera shakes, but Oh, I know. That's what I'm getting at. Okay, so let me sit down here. Let me do this. First thing is first. No, I have to do two things. Let me try this. First thing I got to do is turn off the. First of all, I have to make sure it is on external. So for that, you got to hit the. Let me read the chat, and then I'll. Let me see. Let me go back here. Yeah, I know. Okay, so first thing is you're gonna press and hold the RDS button for 2 seconds, and then okay, now it's an external antenna. You see that? You saw that? So now I have it on external, just that. And then the set button is to turn off the amplifier. Let's see, amp off. There you go. Okay, so I got it. Okay, so when you wanna switch from internal to external, you got to press and hold down the the RDS button. The RDS button, press it and hold it for 2 seconds. That's going to swap between internal and external. Okay, so I'm going to show you. RDS, I'm going to press it and hold it again. Now it says internal. You see that? You saw that? I'm going to press it and hold it again for 2 seconds. External. There you go. Because I want external. Okay, so I got that. So the amplifier, you have to go to the set button. You press it and hold it down for 2 seconds. See, the amp is on. I don't want that. I want the amp off. So now let's try it. Let me go back to 530. And let's see what happens. 530. Okay, it's better. I don't hear that. Okay. All right, so it turned out that because I had the amplifier on and vice versa. Probably the external to the internal thing. Okay, so we can try again. So let's try again. Okay, that's better. And here's something at 600. Okay, much better. Oh, so that was the issue. There you go. So that was the issue. But still, I'm wondering. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, even the amplifier was... anyway, yeah, so I guess the culprit was the amplifier being on. Because even when I check out the antenna... Yeah, now it's better. Now it's much better. So there you go. Okay.
This has been so true. Had a lot of great calls. Found the first Liberty building. We've heard Erickson talk about us on the show for years. We're the local lenders who, for 3 decades, have said yes, and the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our first Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians, even taxpayers are now earning 8 to 13% interest rate while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to First Liberty.
That's one thing about this radio, though. It has so many menu options. You know, I kind of almost forgot about the amplifier. I mean, I knew about the internal, external, but I totally forgot about the amplifier, if it was on or not. 'Cause I thought by default, excuse me, I thought by default it was off. But it looked like I left it on. Maybe at a previous time I had it on and I never shut it off. Yeah, that's not as much better. I can hit Cuba. Hey, Cuba. Radio Progreso. All right, here we go.
We're going to kill the goy. So what I'm saying is...
Precision, innovative technology, we were gaining and still have the most experience, and that's why people...
Going easy on illegal immigrants, and he's promised to go to Boston himself to confront the situation.
They're being targeted for Elon stuff. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but maybe cigarettes they mentioned Tesla. But I saw one today, it was like some guy gets out in traffic, cuts off another vehicle, starts screaming at the person, and drives away.
In the reserve as they health check the rhinos to make sure they're okay following their nuclear treatment. The whole process, from implanting the radioactive isotopes to today's check, is a far gentler method than, say, dehorning. Professor James Larkin of the University of the Witwatersrand has been leading what's known as the Rhizotope Project.
This whole project works on two key thoughts. By making a horn slightly radioactive, we make it less desirable for the people who want to own a rhino horn, who want to use it for traditional medicine. And the second
nuclear detection systems at many border crossings and other transport hubs. If a poached horn passes through one, it would be detected and considered a nuclear security incident. And instead of simply being a poaching offense, it becomes something far more serious. The project is both backed and monitored by the International Atomic Energy Agency. Here is Dr. Elena Guglova.
Well, it's a very exciting project because it comes.
Donate your car today. Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate. Tip off this season with the bold flavors of Pollo Campero, where every bite of
de la palabra siempre produce división. En un número significativo de los funerarios donde me ha tocado predicar, yo he visto cuando al presentar el evangelio y hablarse de la posibilidad de condenación de parte de aquellos que no han depositado su fe en Cristo Jesús, yo he visto en un número incontable de ocasiones personas frente a mí levantarse y netamente salir del lugar. La predicación de la palabra.
Thank you, James Foley. I appreciate that.
Que frecuentemente crea esa.
And hello, Elmer Time. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Radio Search.
Como judíos y gentiles no tenían trato uno con el otro. Los judíos odiaban a los gentiles.
Yeah, here's some Spanish. I'm doing it through my phone. The problem is the chat disappears right away. It's not like I'm doing it through my webcam. When I do it through my phone, the chat comes in and disappears, and I gotta hit a button on the corner so I can see the chat. Yeah, I mean it's a good radio. Don't get me wrong, it's a good radio, but I'm noticing that there's some, even though I fixed some of the issues, but I still notice that it is a little more susceptible to noise inside compared to the silver, and a couple of people knocked that radio. Yeah.
And I should tell you one more thing. On Saturdays, we're here from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., 3 to 4 p.m., and 5 to 6 p.m. on Saturdays, and every night at midnight. So lots of people like to go to sleep with Dr. Lederman. Lots of people like to wake up with Dr. Lederman.
Yeah, James Foley, you're talking about the DP-666. That seems to be a good radio. That's the one with the touchscreen, by the way. That one does have the touchscreen. So it's basically, this radio, and the other radio, the TF-6686, with a keypad and the touchscreen. And that one has a touchscreen. So, you have to get the latest update, and then that one enables the touchscreen. The one that I have, the TF-6686, the silver one, even if you do the latest update, that one does not have the touchscreen. Married DX already demonstrated that on his video. So that's why they upgrade. I'm still at version 2 point. I think it's version 2. I think he went up to 2.11 or something like that. But I didn't upgrade all the way because I don't see I think you mentioned one other thing that it does do, but I'm gonna wait on that. Yeah, same here. That's why this radio is great because that's what they did. They put the card chip in a radio in a portable case. Because for example, like our car, the Honda that we have, when I put that radio on, it DXs. I can DX. It could be driving, going toward like upstate. I'll put on 790, and I'm looking at my wife, and I can hear Cuba, and I'm telling her, "Oh, that's Radio Rayla." She looks at me like I'm nuts because I can hear the pip and all that. I'm like, "Honey, that's Cuba." She's like, "Whatever, big deal." And then I'll tune the bands while she's driving. Yeah, Doco. Yeah, that's a very popular brand. Remember those things are built like a tank. So, excuse me for yawning. I'm sorry. Anyway, okay, let me.
You can also call Dr. Lederman at 212 Choices for a free informative booklet.
I love Julie and I've gotten to know and really like these folks. And you're familiar very much with both of them. Senator David McCormick and his wonderful wife, Dina Town McCormick, who in her own right, quite a record in accomplishment. But here's the thing. They didn't look when we've spoken to people in a way that's never done. And this wasn't about politics or economics or philosophy. It's about...
Yeah, Omer. Old car radios have a great receiver. Some DXs will take the car radio. Yeah, I seen that too. And I thought about doing that. Actually, I thought about, I'm looking around. Like if I go to, what do you call it? If I go thrifting or something, and I see I see a car radio, I'm thinking I'm gonna buy one and just hook it up to my power supply. Because I have a few of them. I have the board, the Songhe. Remember the Songhe board? I can just hook it up there and then hook up a pair of speakers to it, and boom. So I thought about that. If I run across one, I'm just gonna pick one up and do something with that. Get a car stereo. And maybe put it in a some kind of makeshift case. Yeah, I'm talking about older ones. I know. Old AM radio from the 66 Chevy Caprice. Yeah. No, so I'm talking about older radios that, there was a channel that I saw a few years ago that there's a radio that he recommended. It was a car stereo, a particular model that he recommended. So you have an old Volvo push button AM car radio. Yeah. Yeah, something like that with the push button. So when I run across one, I'll probably pick one up. Maybe like from, thrifting or something. I don't know. If they're still around, because some of them wind up in a landfill. But I see some on eBay, but they're asking ridiculous price for them. I see a few car stereos on eBay, but I'm not buying one from eBay. eBay, that's crazy what they're asking for. So, if I run across one day, I'll I think one time I saw a few months, not a few months, a couple of years ago. Craigslist. I seen a couple of them on Craigslist that somebody was selling. I think somebody was selling like 3 or 4 of them at one time. It was like a lot. But I was like, okay, but it was not like what I wanted. Because I don't want one cassette and all that. I don't care about all that. So yeah.
You decide with your lovely wife, we really have to put time aside to do this project. Why was this so important to you? After years of speculation, wall-to-wall, Wick in entertainment news this morning. First, John Wick 5, set with Keanu Reeves. John Wick sets an animated prequel film, too, with Reeves. Also revealed, play on word, at CinemaCon, the franchise collected more than $1 billion worldwide. And there's word of a John Wick spinoff from unemployment low. He predicts the tariffs could lead to a, quote, cage match between consumers and providers, resulting in higher prices and lower demand, which would eventually lead to job cuts. Nearly 2 years after filing for bankruptcy, David's Bridal is moving forward with a new strategy. It now has a storefront on Amazon, The Edit by DB Studio, which includes bridal, bridesmaids dresses, and special occasion clothing. The Edit is geared for customers who are browsing and not buying in the stores. In other
Yeah, I
words,
probably figured they don't keep with me though.
Stock in Hims and Hers house rose on the news that the
Yeah, because they're they're old, they don't even have a CD player. So they probably look at it like, oh, this is junk, and they put it in the landfill. And they don't know, like old radio guys like us, we appreciate those more. So the average person is gonna be like, this don't have no CD player at least. And they're gonna, throw in the wastebasket or in the, dumpster. So I know in my case, I seen some on Craigslist. It was more like an estate sale. Like the guy, it was an old radio guy passed away, and he had a whole bunch of them in the garage. That's where you're gonna get them from. You're not gonna get them from, that's what happened to me. I seen a few of them on Craigslist. It was an old radio guy, ham radio guy, or whatever, or an old radio guy like us. And he just had a few of them in the garage. And now they just, looking to get rid of them. That's where you're going to get it from. Something like that. Because they're getting harder and harder to find. Believe me. Because that's not that, most people that they're going to restore cars, they're not going to want to restore it with that. Unless they're really true, aficionado, like radio aficionado. They're going to try to restore it with a cassette player or, even throw in a CD player or something like that. Or even go more modern. So.
I admittedly grew up with.
So WBZ, Boston is coming okay. It's coming right. Let me see WHO.
Phoenix Suns, and it's an excellent job
Oh, sorry.
by Eric pointing out.
Too much noise on 1050. Okay, 1050.
That's the Phoenix Suns. If you're allowing
1060, 1070.
Fee. When people are looking at their tires, like, man, I spend, 600 to 800, maybe 1,000.
So that's WBAL out of Baltimore.
Yeah, an extra $20. Like, those are difficult things to campaign on. So that's kind of my follow-up question, and maybe someone has some thoughts in the text line. How should individuals that want things to be differently, how should they campaign? What should the Republican strategy be
in addressing this if we don't want to continue to see more taxes and fees? Is there a concise approach that will allow Republicans to garner goodwill among the public, that could give them a fighting shot at some of these Senate seats, some of these House seats, maybe even the governor's seat?
Let me try. I did earlier, but it was too noisy. Because 660, sorry. Let me, 650. I can hear Cuba really clear now. Wow. No. Too noisy. But Cuba, $640, that sounds like Cuba. Let me leave it on there for you. It sounds loud now. Wow. I'm gonna get copyright, bro. The hell with it. I don't care. I wanna hear Cuba. Yeah, that's Cuba. Radio Progreso. 640. Yeah, that's Cuba. That's the, I recognize the announcer. Yep, Radio Progreso. There you go. Yeah, that's Radio Progreso out of Cuba. All the way up here to Yonkers, New York. So that's a very good, that sounds very good. Wow. Yeah, radio search, yeah. Let me try 790. Yeah, no luck. 790, no luck. Yeah. All right, so let me go back to what it was. 10. It was at, okay, Boston. 1050. I still like the other one better because I can still hear noise on this one. So right now, I'm still gonna give it the edge to the other one. And Maverick DX told me that, and I believe him because the proof is in the pudding. I still like the other one better.
This is Game Night on ESPN Radio. We are presented by Progressive.
Because the other one had better shielding. It was just better shielding.
Who were the top performers of the night?
So. Yeah, it was just better shielding. I know people love this radio. It is a great radio, don't get me wrong. But I still like the other one better. And let me tell you something. It's different for everybody, but and I bought this one first. And I didn't mean to wear DX on this one. But when I got the other one, it was way better. Meeting with DXing.
There is a guy on the Bandscans vacation. Investigate. My father died in front of me because he didn't get the help care he needed.
Demand that it's actually the self-fulfilling prophecy that's happening at a soul level.
Next up, first-time caller James of North Carolina.
Well, that's close because this one sounds pretty good, but I gotta give it to, I gotta say the other one.
I had a month.
The land itself.
Plus the battery life on the other one is amazing compared to this one. This one battery life is not the best.
Unbearable horror. The piles of limbs, dripping blood, the dying, the dead, hell on earth.
So this is WBT out of North Carolina.
But it was also a pivotal battle. General Lee was hoping a loss at Gettysburg, just a short distance from a great northern city like Philadelphia, might be enough to prompt Northerners to call it quits and turn Lincoln out in the upcoming election in 1864. President Lincoln, too, understood the importance of the speech he was about to give. He understood that the American people were sick and tired of the bloodshed that continued day after day, year after year. What was Lincoln trying to accomplish with his short address? Again, I quote DeBoer.
Let me see, KMOX. Nope. So noisy. Bloomberg.
So I think people have to understand, back in 1913, let's do a little history.
Yeah, I used to love the DX, the graveyard. Yeah.
Nurture. To help develop. Nurture. To take care of.
Because it's a WWVA out of West Virginia.
Hallelujah.
Brother Stair.
Nurture and admonition.
Brother Overcoming Ministry and West Virginia.
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. All right. Well, I've got verses to go with it. Just a few, though, because, like I said, we're coming to the end. So one of the changes this week.
So Overcoming Ministry. I'm 1180 right now. Of course, it's a local station. And I know, of course, Radio Wado, they changed the format. I saw the video of T Radio 1972. Now it's called what is it? Muy Buena or La Buena, something like that. I don't know. Muy Buena? Yeah, I know. Exactly. I know people bash him all the time, but believe it or not, he is the man single-handedly is still he is saving shortwave radio in the United States. Gotta give him his props. Gotta give the man his props. If it wasn't for that man, shortwave in the USA would be gone. People don't want to hear that, but hey, gotta give, well, he's not here no more, but the Overcoming Ministry, all those donations still coming in.
We are one phone call away from renting horses on our own private polo ground. One call from christening yachts, having a butler, using summer as a verb. Honey, look, everyone's got a rich uncle somewhere. It's statistics. The last thing you can do is prepare for the inevitable.
Right, which is why I thought maybe it would be smart to take control of my finances. Start using a budget. Do you want debt?
Budget? Debt? You watch your mouth. Retirement shouldn't be a goal for us. It should be a way of life.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council. Boston's conservative talk is Talk 1200.
All right. Anyway, that's Boston. I was hoping that would be WOAI out of San Antonio, Texas. But I haven't heard that station in a long time at 1200. So that was Boston. Okay.
Also wanted to share with you that was incredibly important. And I have a website. I have a...
Of course, WPAC out of Philly. Yeah, I don't think so. NPR's next. I said it, right? NPR's next. NPR's next. And by the way, when it comes to NPR, PBS, ain't nothing stopping them from getting donations. They get plenty of donations anyway. But yeah, I think they're next. Sorry, people. All right, I want to hit me now. Take care, Radio Search. Yeah, I know I'm up late too. Let me see what else. I saw something. What it was? We have a 50,000 watt AM station here on 1190. Okay. So this station is a local station, but they just changed their format today. So now it's called what is it? Muy Buena or something. Anyway, it's just music now. Before it was news and some other stuff. Now it's just music, I guess, and I don't know what it is now. local station.
To get the rest of LeVar Arrington, Brady Quinn, and Joe Nah, podcast by searching Two Pros and a Cup of Joe. Listen to Two Pros and a Cup of Joe weekdays from 6 a.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio.
Right now,
The Dan Patrick Show.
and March is about madness. It's about chaos. We love the upsets. We love the buzzer beaters, Cinderella stories, but this year it's different. No mid-major darlings, no double-digit seeds crashing the Final Four. It's 4 number 1 seeds. Houston, Duke, Auburn, Florida. People are disappointed, but you have the 4 best teams in the country. Imagine any other sport where you go, man, I'm looking for somebody out of nowhere to play for the championship. We do that with March Madness, but you don't do that in most sports. Now, Arizona Diamondbacks were a nice story. Like, we do like those nice stories.
Yeah.
To the conversation, God created us, and He created us with intellect and free will. And
Irrelevant Radio, local channel.
A Christian.
This Wednesday, more federal employees learn.
So the WFED out of Washington, D.C., also known as WTLP.
WTLP FM HD2, Braddock Heights. WWWFM HD2, Manassas. Portions pre-recorded. Federal News Network program that offers academic and social help. Federal News Network with disabilities. I'm Scott Gelman. Good morning. Welcome in 1 o'clock on WTOP. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts. I'm Michael Toscano. President Trump will hold a ceremony in the Rose Garden to announce another round of tariffs. CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady tells us the move comes with risks.
The concern is that if consumers are worried about tariffs and tariffs increase prices, increases inflation, consumers could pull back on spending. And consumer spending drives 2/3 of GDP here in the U.S. And so if consumers pull back, that means we could see slower economic growth.
Cars.com ranks vehicles each year by how many of their parts are made in the U.S. and how much they're assembled here. CBS's Michael Wallace has their latest results.
For the 3rd year in a row, Tesla's Model Y is the most American car. It's assembled in Fremont, California.
There you go.
In Texas. The Honda Passport is the second most.
WWKB out of Buffalo, New York.
Basically old. Maybe experiencing that kind of question.
Here we go. KXCL. CBEF out of Canada. I'll put the link after the live stream. Amazon at $17. Local station. Yeah, I had this stand for quite a while. I had it for about 7 years now. Yeah, $17 on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. Yeah, I love this stand. This you know, I love the stand.
Together, our goal is to help people become more fully devoted followers of Jesus, who lead with their faith everywhere they go. Learn more at alanjackson.com. Time after time in the Bible, we see that angels and demons exist. They interact with each other and us, impacting our world every day. They also directly influence our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. Pastor Alan has a new book called Angels, Demons, and You. It gives you real biblical evidence about the...
Taking pictures in D.C. in front of the spectacular cherry blossom.
Plaza Local Station, Black Information Network. 1610 is from Canada. Right now it's not coming in that great. Yeah, this one is pretty good.
Therefore, we have to eliminate the threats. This drill will continue to remove any threat to our security.
The criminal charges reducing the Trump administration's request to transfer Martin's Camille's immigration case to Louisiana. 21 Columbia University grad student was arrested last month for his role in organizing and taking part in pro-Hamas protests on campus.
Local. WPTX out of Lexington Park, Maryland. It's booming in now. Light my fire. The Doors. I'm gonna play. I got a copyright on that one. Bah! Fire. Oh, that's a great song. I love the Doors. Oh my God, I love the Doors. Fire! WRCR, but you can barely hear it. That's WRCR out of Ramapo, New York. And 1710. Nothing there. And that's it. 520. I can hear Little Cuba right now on 530. I can hear Cuba. I can hear it. Barely hear it, but I can hear it. And music. You hear it. Anyway, let's go to 600. Let me see. Let me go to 640. Yeah. 640 is coming better. Is coming in better tonight than 530. And you heard it earlier, it sounded better actually. So 640 out of Cuba is actually sounding louder than 530. So there you go. Let's go to shortwave. I'm gonna scan down.
Епископ отмечает, что как сепаратизм, так и унитаризм, характерные для актуального исторического контекста, представляют опасность. Преодоление кризиса необходимый диалог и уважение прав каждого отдельного человека и каждого народа, утверждает Вукшич, поясняя, что в Боснии и Герцеговине есть 3 народа – хорваты,
de défense, ordre public et sécurité nationale de Roumanie. 2 semaines durant, plusieurs séquences de combat seront menées dans tous les milieux d'action, maritime, fluvial, lagunaire, sous-marin, terrestre et aérien. Les capacités de coordination et de réaction des forces participantes dans des scénarios très complexes seront ainsi testées et améliorées.
I think that's Radio France International.
Le biais d'activités visant à défendre les infrastructures côtières critiques, à protéger les lignes de communication maritime, à soutenir les opérations amphibies. Les exercices menés dans les zones maritimes de la mer Noire, sur le Danube et dans la zone côtière augmenteront la capacité de réponse collective et contribueront à promouvoir l'engagement de l'OTAN en faveur de la sécurité régionale. Au dire du ministre roumain de la Défense, Angel Pulver, Seafield montre également l'engagement de la Roumanie à assurer la sécurité et la stabilité de la région de la mer Noire. Il a également annoncé que l'achat d'une corvette légère pour la force navale.
Doing well, as usual, and catching up in school, I guess. We can only do our best anyway, so not to worry too much.
Yeah.
Paying attention to details and reading for a long time could seem to make us sleepy. So, to return to wakefulness, I would step out of the related area after a short break. I'd feel awakened, then continue to work again. You can also have a cool drink, a quicker, brief exercise instead for a break. I have to try these tips often, as my work is very demanding. You're welcome to try these tips also.
Oh, okay.
Please try
Better Romania, okay.
rest, as it is important to balance work and relaxation schedule. Have fun.
I don't have this schedule
of your time
change
and
thing.
energy. God loves you, good kids. Thank you, gracious master, for these considerate tips and helping our precious children develop these healthy habits, thus being able to grow up much happier and ready for their wonderful futures. We love you so much. Thank you all for tuning in and love you a lot for being veg and going green to save the planet, thus save the world. Now for the weather around the globe.
You know, why then do you suppose that so many people in the West no longer believe this way? See, most Western Christians are now pre-trib believers, but that's only been around since, what, the 19th century or something like that? John Darby, wasn't it? John Darby spelled out the doctrine of a pre-tribulation rapture in detail, and the belief really gained ground under him. But in fact, it's actually been around a lot longer.
Morgan Edwards, an American Baptist pastor in the 18th century, taught it. And there are even hints of it reaching right back as far as the 3rd century. Really? I had no idea it'd been around that long. Well, I suppose, it does make more sense. It was in the 3rd and 4th centuries that heresy really entered the church. Anyway, back to my question, Monday. Why have Western believers so widely embraced the idea of this ridiculous... objectively our country.
So I joked off the top about how in that press conference in Montreal where people were waiting to hear what Mr. Carney had to say about his discussion on the phone with Trump. Tell people what he did say, or did he just kind of tap dance?
He tapped dance a little bit. I mean, listen, Mark Carney, his response immediately was, I support the sovereignty of Greenland and my tensions are very much with the Prime Minister of Greenland has begged the international community to stop shying away, to stop being quiet, and to start standing up. I don't think he went far enough. But he did underline the fact that this government has, as of very, very recently, done a pretty good job at working more closely with the other Arctic partners. He has underlined the fact that he wants to build these 2 bases in the high Arctic. He underlined the fact that Canada is now really steaming ahead on its plans to buy more icebreakers. This is all very good stuff.
With the banner of the church, they're more amenable to give versus understanding that if you understand why you're giving, it's like saying, God gave me everything. He's blessed me with everything, whether it's a little or a lot. He's blessed me with it all in my way that God has provided for me to express my understanding of that.
Yeah, CFRX.
My spiritual food. That's really not a difficult thing.
Out of Toronto.
I really dislike the fact that we have become, the church, especially programs on TV, have just become a center for begging. Charlatans by the dozen, people who, by the way, if you ever stop and actually listen to the content, it reminds me a little bit of some people in our government. Like a lot of stuff that has no meaning and there's no application to it and nothing's ever going to happen. So with that, I'm just going to say, use your time wisely. Especially I'm talking to the new folks out there. Use your time wisely. What you do with your private time, your own time, that's your business. But if you use it wisely, you could be learning the Bible in combination.
Something else is going on. Hallelujah. Even in your trouble, in the presence of the Lord, He'll bring peace. Peace has to do with your heart. And has to do with situations. Because, hallelujah, so we can have peace in the midst of our storm. Hallelujah. So He'll give you peace. He's a Prince of Peace. Hallelujah. I give you peace. That's what the Bible says. Y'all believe that? There's no need for us to have a lack of peace just because we have a tight schedule. You know what you do in the tight
Radio Rebelde, wow. That's Radio Rebelde, right? Wow. can hear it good today. Wow. Not bad. So, rebelde. Right? Radio rebelde. Yeah. Wow. Been a long time since I heard it like this. Yeah, rebelde. Radio rebelde. But it's been a while since I heard it so clear. I know it's doing its job today, tonight. I can hear the music. Wow. I know, same here. Yeah, I miss Radio Australia too. Good night to you, Radio Number 22. Take care. Thank you for stopping by. the hell is that? No, I hear like some. Well, I know it's a time check. I'm talking about there's some. The noise is really.
5 hours, 24 minutes.
Okay, now. There's some interference going on or something. Yeah, I know it's CHU, but I'm just saying there's something else going on. Hear that? Hear that? You talking about that noise? All right, CHU. There you go. Yeah, I know. Exactly. Anything is possible. I'm gonna go around again and see if I get anything up there. Like so let it go all the way down to another go around. I mean, it scans pretty fast, though. I give that credit. All right, that's pretty fast with the scan. I have no idea what this is. Ready in New Zealand? You think? I know, wow. That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised. Ready in New Zealand, right? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, it's not ready in New Zealand. Nice. All right. Yeah, ready in New Zealand. Look in the DX, baby, the DX. All right, let's go to the. Yeah, DX. That's a DX right there. Pretty good. Let me see if I can get the 13.7. Is it 5.5 or? Should be able to get that one now. We're in New Zealand, right? Let's see. RZ Pacific. No. In a couple of more hours, probably. RZ, the 13 megahertz. So yeah. So I got the one at 17 megahertz. Huh? Right in Romania. with the MLA30 with the copper element, modified MLA30. BNC connector and the copper tubing on the MLA30.
Radio Romania International. You are listening to our half-hour broadcast in English for listeners in Western Europe, Southeast Asia and the Pacific area. We can also be heard on the internet at www.live.ro, Channel 1. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter and other social media platforms. Our programs are also available on TuneIn, Radio Romania International 1, and in Europe via satellite Eutelsat 16A on 11,512 MHz, vertical polarization, azimuth 16 degrees east. We wish you good reception conditions.
Yeah, the amplifier's off, because I got the MLA30 on.
Hello, I'm Christina Marquez with the news. First, the headlines. Romanian deputies will be debating on Wednesday a simple no confidence motion against
Yeah, the internal amplifier is off because I got the MLA30 on.
opposition party, the Alliance for the Union of Romanians. The unemployment rate in Romania in February was 5.6%, up 0.1% compared to January. And the Romanian men's handball champions, Dinamo Bucharest, will be playing the German side SC Magdeburg on Wednesday in the decisive leg of the Champions League playoffs. Romanian deputies will be debating on Wednesday a simple no-confidence motion against the Liberal Interior Minister Cătălin Predoiu, initiated by the nationalist opposition party, the Alliance for the Union of Romanians. The latter accuses Predoiu of having turned the Interior Ministry into a genuine political police institution, where citizens are no longer protected but monitored, intimidated and silenced. The party also developed an inquiry with a view to his being subject to criminal prosecution for his actions while in office. Cătălin Predoiu said this approach is a democratic exercise and that he will answer any questions posed to him with arguments, as he has done every time he has been faced with a vote of no confidence. Previously, senators voted against the vote of no confidence submitted by the Alliance for the Union of Romanians, the Young People's Party and SOS Romania against the Liberal Energy Minister Sebastian Bordejan, who was accused of promoting an incompetent policy, lacking in vision, and of depriving
because the MLA30 is amplified already. So I have to turn the radio amplifier off. Otherwise, I will overload it. That's what happened earlier. When you have the MLA30 on, you see the MLA30 is right there. That's amplified already. So you have to turn the amplifier on the radio off. You can have amplifier and another amplifier on. It will overload it. Obviously, you know that. So that's what was happening on Medium Wave when I first came on the live stream. I forgot to turn off the amplifier because this radio has an internal amplifier. So that's why But now it's good. Yeah. So when you're using an external antenna, if it's a passive loop, like the U loop, then you can leave the amplifier on. But if it's you got to turn off the amplifier in here because otherwise you're going to overload it. Yeah.
The remaining payments. The unemployment rate in Romania stood at 5.6% in February, up by 0.1% compared to the level recorded in January. The National Statistics Institute said on Tuesday. The number of unemployed aged 15 to 74 in February was 456,800 people, a slight increase compared to the previous month, but also compared to the same period of 2024. Broken down by gender.
Let's see what we got. I can hear something, but okay. Let me go. Let me see if I can because I think it's not on right now. Let me see. Yeah, it's not on yet. Let's see. I'll go back to the other one and see if I can hear it better. doing it pretty good. All right, there you go. So I'm gonna sign off for now. I've been on for almost 2 hours. Well, 2 hours right now in a few seconds. So anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you on the next one. Take care. Have a great day. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.